Hello kids, good morning. How are you all? I hope all are being fine and are back to our online classes and are ready to continue with our further lessons. So are you excited to learn about Shivaji's childhood? Like we have finished the childhood part and then we are going to move on to the further story, right? So I'm again back with the new video and I'm going to teach you, as you know, EVS 2, and today I'm going to teach you lesson number 5 and it is Shivaji's education. So I hope your exams were well and you have done a good work in the exams. So now let us continue with our further chapters. So today we are going to learn about Shivaji's education, which is chapter number 5. Okay, so as usual I'll read and explain you, okay, and explain you the difficult words also. Okay, so are you excited to begin our 5th chapter? Yeah, so come on, let's begin. So open your page number 17 of, and the lesson's name is Shivaji's Education, chapter number 5. Okay, so the main point they have given us is of beginning of Shivaji's education. Last chapter we have seen Shivaji's childhood. In this chapter we are going to see beginning of Shivaji's education. So what Shahaji Raje himself, he was a scholar himself in which Sanskrit. Okay, so they are saying Shahaji Raja, he himself was a master, like he knew everything in the language Sanskrit. Okay, in the Bangalore court, as we have learned in the last chapter, that Shahaji Raje moved with Jizabai and Shivaji to where, which court? Bangalore court. Now we know that like he is in the Bangalore court, right? He is handling everything over there in that court. So in the Bangalore court, under his support, patronage, they have given, in the Bangalore court, he had under his patronage artists and scholars of various languages. So what does that mean? It means like in the Bangalore court which he was there, under his control and support, there were many artists and scholars, like many famous people who are like excellent in each category of their work. Many different kind of artists were also there and of various languages. So like from different languages people were there in his court. He appointed intelligent teachers for Shivaji. Now he had in his mind that he wanted the best teachers for Shivaji. So therefore he kept best teachers for Shivaji who taught Shivaji. Okay. Shivaji's education began when he became 7 years old. So when Shivaji was 7 years old, his education had begun. By whom? Shahaji Raje. He made the famous and very good scholars teach Shivaji. Okay. When he was 7 years old, who? Shivaji Maharaj. When he was 7 years old, he started his education. He started to learn different new things. So what and all he learned, we are gonna look forward into that. Okay. Okay. Carefully listen now. Soon Shivaji became skilled in the art of reading and writing, and as he started learning at the age of 7, and then he began to learn different new things. He started to read, he started to write. As you also, like when you came to school, you were not knowing reading and writing, right? So like that only, Shivaji also didn't know that time, like when he was a kid, right? But then when he started learning from the scholars, at that time he started to read and write. Okay, he understood how to read and write. He learned that. He began to read the stories from Ramayana, Mahabharata and Bhagavad Gita on his own. Now as he started to read and write his own, so he can read and write, correct? So then what he used to do, he used to read the stories from Ramayana, Mahabharata and Bhagavad Gita from his own, like he himself used to read. First who used to read that for him? Jizabai used to tell him the stories, right? Now as he learned to read, he himself used to read the stories and understand the meaning of that. Okay. To teach him warfare, Shahaji Raje had appointed some teachers. Now, to teach him what? Warfare means activities in war or some fighting. Like war tactics, we can say, how you should do the war or how to use weapons and such things of war was taught to Shivaji by much skilled people, scholars, like who are the topmost people in teaching that things. So, Shahaji Raje appointed the best scholars, teachers for whom? Shivaji Maharaj. Okay, and then what they are telling us in front, they began to teach Shivaji to ride a horse, to wrestle, to use swords and dandpatta. So they taught Shivaji the skills what are necessary in a war, what to ride an horse. You must have definitely seen in movies, or either you must have seen in what we can say, in some serials or books, stories, pictures. You must have seen, right? At ancient times people used to ride in horse and all, especially in wars and all. You must have seen the movie Bahubali, right? In that everyone is using the horses in the war, right? Yeah, so that's an example. You must have even seen the movie, I can tell you, Bajirao Mastani, right? Many of you must have seen. In that Bajirao, he's riding and horse, and then he's doing many wars in that. We have seen such parts and all, right? Yeah, so Shivaji Maharaj also started to learn how to ride an horse. Then later on he also learned how to wrestle, like how to fight, wrestling. Then later on how to use swords, how to, I have explained you the meaning of swords, but in coming videos I will show you the pictures of that, okay? Don't worry. So swords, and then danpatta, that's also an danpatta is actually a Marathi word. It's some kind of different sword only. I'll show you the pictures so that you can understand what's in danpatta. So he used to learn, then he got to learn how to use a danpatta sword, how to ride a horse, and also wrestling. Okay. So thus at the age of 12, Shivaji Maharaj became acquainted with different branches of learning and arts. So by the age of 12, Shivaji Maharaj was well familiar with, he was well okay with, like now at the age of 7 he began everything. By 12 years he learned everything, so he was okay with everything, and he was almost masters, we can say, like that way. So he had learned almost everything, and with different branches of learning and arts. And arts also he had learned warfare and everything, reading, writing, everything. And in arts part also he had learned a lot. So that is what they are telling us. By 12 he was very familiar with everything. Acquainted means being familiar. Okay. Soon Adil Shah sent Shahaji Raje on an expedition to conquer the states of the Nayaks, local chiefs in Karnataka. Now at that time only, what did Adil Shah do? I mean, Shahaji Raje was in Bangalore, right? So what he did, Adil Shah, he told Shahaji Raje to do an expedition. Expedition means a journey which is undertaken by a group of people with a purpose of war. So Adil Shah wanted to conquer the states of the Nayaks. That Nayaks are the chief locals of some area in Karnataka. So he wanted to conquer the Nayaks, so that area also comes under the control of whom? Adil Shah. Okay, so this duty he gave to whom? Shahaji Raje. Okay, before setting upon the expedition, Shahaji Raje sent Shivaji and Jizabai to Pune. Now, okay, Adil Shah told to Shahaji Raje to do all of this stuff, to conquer, like for that expedition of to conquer this Nayaks, the local chiefs in Karnataka, right? So what did Shahaji Raje? He had planned and everything. So he had a mindset. What he had done, like, is for the safety purpose, maybe he sent Jizabai and Shivaji Maharaj back to where? Pune. Okay, so they are in Bangalore right now. With whom? Shahaji Raje is there, Shivaji Maharaj and Jizabai. Okay, so what he did, Shahaji Raje sent Shivaji Maharaj and Jizabai back to Pune, and he himself stayed in Bangalore to conquer that Nayaks according to the will of Adil Shah. Okay, and then what they are telling, with them he sent elephants, horses and infantry, a treasury, a flag, as also trusted ministers, brave generals and renowned teachers. So now what did, okay, Shahaji Raje had decided to send Shivaji Maharaj and Jizabai, his wife, to Pune, back to Pune, and he himself in Bangalore, right? So he just did not leave them both alone with some army. Instead he had well planned everything, and what and all he sent, like which people he had sent with Shivaji Maharaj and Jizabai. So it is like he had sent many elephants, many horses and an infantry. Infantry means group of soldiers who are marching or fighting. So like group of soldiers. A treasury, okay, treasury, and also some flag. Not also some flag, actually a flag, and flag of Swaraj. Okay, like a flag was given, their flags, every particular place has had at that times, their kingdoms had their own specific flags. So a flag, and also some trusted ministers of Shahaji Raje, and brave generals, and renowned teachers. Renowned teachers means famous teachers who were quite eligible and quite good, very famous teachers. So everything, with all this, Shivaji Maharaj and Jizabai were sent back to Pune by whom? Shahaji Raje. So this is what they are telling us about how Shivaji's education had begun. Okay, have you understood?